Hi, host Eric Harris of Talking with Famous People, and I'd like to welcome you tonight to another very interesting episode of Talking with Famous People. I'm here with host Ken, Basement Overlords in the house, an individual named Jack. I don't know who he is here as well, but seems nice to me. And attendees total in this room, 20 people are here. That's nuts. That's crazy. That's so great. I have a
Eric,
possible topic if you want to launch right into it, or I'm down to hear topics or host can go and say what you guys say.
I don't have a topic. I was just going to say, I think this is, I'm not sure, but I think this is what happens when we start it at a reasonable time. We get people interested. They're not saying, nah, it's too late. I can't get involved. They're like, I'll stick around for half an hour. And then before you know it, they're in.
Everybody except host Ken. Anytime he puts up a GTM link, I want you guys to come in here and then do nothing but bitch at him about the fact that he's not recording it.
This is terrible.
I'm the only one who does. I'm the only one who's like, Ken, are you recording? Are you
Everyone
gonna
else is
record?
just having a conversation. Everyone else is just having fun, Eric. They're like the
Okay.
Gestapo, okay?
Well, host Ken, the only question is this: do you want to lose that fun, or do you want to preserve it for posterity?
I want to preserve it. Possibly.
Okay, right. I have a topic
Usually
here,
the
which is
secret.
this. I, I think it's a potentially interesting topic. I've been thinking about the cognitive function model that Megabro presents with the negative and positive feedback loops. I've felt it sort of crumble a bit under certain pressure points. And I've concluded, in thinking about it, that it's because the negative and positive feedback attribute is not an attribute of the function, but rather an attribute of the subsystems upon which the functions act. And so, as a consequence, instead, what we have is something that appears to do something like that, but it's because it responds in different ways according to how the subsystem's attributes lay. So, for example, if you have a closed subsystem that necessarily that it in and of itself has a negative feedback attribute, then a function will either be aware or unaware, or a person will be either aware or unaware of that unconsciously or consciously. And cognitive functions will express certain strategies in dealing with a system that expresses those attributes differently. But that's not it's not an attribute of the cognitive function. I don't think this is a model, of course. Who knows? But here's my alternative position on this, which is instead the way the cognitive functions act is much simpler. It's that each cognitive function you have multiple basically sets of words in for a lot of them, but some other sort of tool that you use to express it along certain very specific ways. So for for like any cognitive function, then basically you can use it to affirm. That is to say, use it to do its own thing, to do what it does, or you could use it to reject that which is not it. So I think it makes more sense to say that each of the cognitive functions expresses either in an affirmative or negation fashion. And like NE, an affirmative NE would be generating more possibilities. A negative NE, then, a negationary NE, would be one that says, I reject something that's not new. An affirming affirming TI for me would say, here's some good ideas that are vetted and sound and solid. Negating TI would say, that's just your feelings. They don't matter. I don't want to hear about it. With FE, an affirming FE would say, I'm going down my cognitive function stack, but an affirming FE would say, uh, you know, hey everybody, here's a nice compliment to make you feel good. A negating FE would say, no, you're wrong because that's making people upset. Just negating TI basically, you know. And then with NI, an affirming NI would say, here are some whole truths. A negating NI would say, I reject that which is not my whole truth. So that's the one that's the most direct, I think, of all of them. For the next slot, TE, an affirming TE says, here's some instructions on how to do shit. And negating TE says, no, you're doing bad because you're not following the instructions and misses the forest for the trees. It doesn't go, yeah, but I achieved the outcome faster and better than your way. It just goes, but you didn't follow the steps. So that would be a negating TE. And then after that, you've got SE. No, I'm sorry. After that, you've got. Did I go out of order? Wait, no. After that, you got FI. And affirming FI, I have no fucking idea what FI. The last one is SE. An affirming SE goes and does shit. A negating SE says, stop. No, I don't want to talk about this anymore. Even though we're not ready to act, let's just fucking use. I can use action now instead of to accomplish something. I can use action to prevent further judicious type behaviors. Right. That's my notion. Open floor.
Good.
I don't know what I was gonna say. Go ahead.
Well, okay. How so does each type have both the positive and negative, or does each type have a specific, like you either have positive TI or negative TI? You either have positive SE or negative SE.
They're not different things. This is a simplified version of Megabro's notion. I think is more accurate actually. They're not. You're simply using TI to either affirm or negate, and how frequently you use it to negate is going to be contingent on your level of development. In fact, I was starting to work out in the car as I was driving home this idea that the first thing you learn how to do is affirm your dominant function. The second thing you learn how to do is I don't know. It's like, and then one of them you negate you negate your weak function, and then eventually instead of negating it you affirm it, but in a different way. And then, like in your unconscious functions, at first you don't even address, you don't encounter them at all, you don't address them at all. Then certain ones you negate, and then eventually, if you get into full development, you shift your attitude such that you're trying to affirm those things that are not your dominant functions to the extent that you can, and to the extent that you get able to do so, you kind of, I guess, outgrow your reflexive tendency. Because I still have an incredibly powerful reflex, no matter what else happens, to be like, no, that's fucking stupid. It's like those words just pop out of my mouth so freely and joyfully. It's like, oh, here's something wrong before I've even thought about it. The birds have taken flight. No, that's fucking stupid, you retard. I say something like that, It just happens. And so what I'm trying to do actually is say, that's cool if we're rolling like that and it's fun and we're dancing, But I do want to be able to personally be able to make the distinction for myself that I am dancing here, and that if I want to be serious, I will choose to not reject things that are not my valued functions, but instead to find ways to cause them to handicap me less or help me more.
It's interesting. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. It's interesting you say that, because what jumps out to me is I recently I did a video about how we should pay attention to things that offend us, like pay close attention to things that offend us or get us upset, because I noticed in myself, like, having these like reactions to certain people that, maybe their value systems didn't line up with mine, and it would offend me, and I would have the reaction that you just explained. And so I'm able to, see myself doing that, and I'm like, well, why am I having that reaction? Like, why? Maybe I should just continue to follow this lead and see where it takes me. Like, why am I initially offended by this?
Right.
And I actually learned some stuff from the people that I initially would have been like, forget it, I don't agree with what they value. I just kept following it. So,
Well, I mean, I think there are certainly some things which are not cognitive function related that I absolutely have no problem doing that about. What I'm saying is that what I do have a problem with myself doing, or a desire to improve on anyway, is when I'm clearly displaying function bias, as we all do, right? Like when I watch JC and host Ken just want to just scratch each other's eyes out. I just see it as such a clear SE polar thing, right? Like host Ken has SE in the 7th slot, and he and
Not in the
JC's
7th slot,
That's
actually.
in his 4th slot.
in his 4th
So in
slot.
Myers-Briggs,
No,
in
okay.
Myers-Briggs terminology,
I'm sorry.
terminology,
You are
It's-
TE. I'm sorry, TE in the 7th slot. Okay, and so JC has.
Yo, hold on, host Ken. If you're talking, we can't hear your audio.
I can hear him.
I just figured I can mime enough. I figured, I figured I thought
Okay.
that by doing
Right.
that would have
Yeah,
gotten.
I'm sorry. I got it backwards. Seventh slot
It's a total
TE
time.
and third slot TE. That's what does it. That's the conflict. Seventh slot TE and third slot TE.
What?
Okay.
That's the conflict that me and host can have?
Yeah.
Can you
And-
suck?
Like-
You need to.
Yeah, I will
Video.
explain. I will
So your,
explain.
your TE is your hidden agenda. That's the thing that you're like, I'd really like to have more of that. And then you're like, host Ken, and I'm like, saying that to TE. You're like, well, thanks.
You want more of that nuclear waste? What's wrong with you, JC?
I don't know. I have no idea what's wrong with me. The end of the
But
world.
that's why it works that way. The 3-7 is because the person who has 7 in the polar slot is antagonistic to it, understands it very poorly, and hates it. The person with it in the third slot loves it. It's their driving motivation on some level, but is bad at it. But understands it a lot better than you do.
Well, I
And the
wouldn't
fact
say
that you
bad at
hate
it. I
it-
would say I wouldn't.
At
I
first,
wouldn't say
at
bad.
first, bad
I
at
would
it.
say
At
they're-
first.
yeah, they get better. I think they get better at it with time because they love it so much that they just like jump into
Well,
it and absorb all the information they can, and they get better over the course of their life.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think it also depends. It's not necessarily that they will get better at it. It's something that they can get better at, and if they do enjoy to do it, then they'll get better at it. But I'm sure there's situations where people, either because of their home life growing up or whatever, that certain functions can get discouraged depending on the environment.
Yeah.
So
Do you think subtypes? Do you agree with subtypes, host Ken, or do you
I
generally?
was just thinking about that right now when it came to. I was wondering also if the positive negative things that we were talking about, how that played into, if it played into
Subtypes.
at
Well,
all
see,
with
that's what I'm saying
subtypes.
is I think the affirming negating thing is a response to what happens to you. So if you end up in a life course that deprioritizes FE, you try to get better at it, you're bad at it, and so you take a different approach to getting FE style rewards. Like I believe that's kind of what happened with Host Taylor. He shifted out of FE and took a TI approach to getting FE rewards. He's still getting the same rewards, but it causes him to approach the whole thing differently. So in that situation, the developmental arc's different, and everything sort of plays out a little bit differently. What was your question though originally? What was the distinction you were making originally?
Well, I was gonna say like I can't pin it down for sure, but like when I think of the difference between me and Jack, just of what I've seen of him so far, we both type ourselves as INFJ, but 5 minutes in the room with us, you can pick up on the fact that there's at least some difference in the way that we sort of communicate. I definitely think of myself as more of an energetic person, especially when people are around. I typically have to separate myself from people, do like I did with that video, sit in a dark room more.
Yes, you're
Well,
right.
I think that's where the positive, and I'm sorry, I will get to you, Jack, in 1 second. I think that's where the affirming and negating thing comes in. It's like, if depending on your life experience, you'll tend towards negating more or affirming more. Jack?
Oh no, I was just gonna say, with the whole extroversion introversion thing, I feel like I can be an extrovert. I can be the life of the party if I'm surrounded by people that I feel understand me, or like my kind of people. I can be like the center of it all. But if I'm with people that I know won't understand me, then I can be kind of quiet and reserved, and I kind of go back and forth in my videos. In some of my videos, I'm super extroverted and wacky, and then other ones I'm very quiet and very.
Okay, in the next video, I want to specifically talk about your channel. I heard somebody say something about somebody having a YouTube channel, but I want to know more about it. But I want to ask. I want that to be a specific topic. So let's talk about that next. I want to hear about it. I'm very curious.
Mm.
But before we move on to that, can we talk about the idea of first of all, I don't think it's always bad to use a function to negate, right? But you're not really using the function to negate. What you're doing is revealing a calculus of value conflicts. So if I'm using negative NE, I'm saying in this instance that TE approach is directly in conflict with my desired valued flexibility, right? valued predictability is in direct conflict with my valued flexibility, and I'm anticipating that you're going to end up constraining me. So I don't want any part of that shit. So I'm going to negate with NE at that point and say, "Fuck you, TE. Here's a bunch of mess for you to try to
Dude,
get
this
around."
this shit is going so over my head right now. I'm like so lost.
Right?
Well, like,
Well,
I
mean,
forget about
maybe,
people aren't super familiar with the jargon. My bad. I forget about that shit.
no, it's okay. I mean, I've dabbled in Myers-Briggs, but I'm not that. I don't think I'm that up to date on like all the different functions, and especially from other types. I don't think I really.
We're also dipping into socionics too as part of it.
And-
That's why I'm
And
lost.
then theories.
JC, go ahead.
So
Say
also,
again.
Jack, keep in mind this theory is totally made up. It actually is like not even related to either theory. But yeah.
It really isn't.
Oh, you mean my
Yeah, I
thing?
think-
This isn't even a theory. I'm just saying I'm saying Mega Bro's theory doesn't seem to hold to me. But I think what's happening instead is he's describing simply people choosing to use it to affirm things or negate that value. I think the way to understand
Yeah.
this as a meaningful taxonomy is say, let's go down the function and say what each value is. So in this idea, anyway, NE's value is flexibility or adaptability. Extroverted intuition's value is that. I'm going to say the full name. Introverted thinking's value is accuracy or correctness. Extroverted feelings value is not just harmony, but juice. It's other juice. Okay, it's like you're seeing other people have it gives you that juice. Anyway, then the next one, SI, the value is predictability. Okay, so it's the polar. I mean, it's the opposite of NE's flexibility. Introverted sensing is predictability. 5, introverted intuition, the value is finality. 6, extroverted thinking, the value is effectiveness. 7, introverted feeling, the value is because I want some ice cream or something. I don't fucking know what that one is. 8,
Individuality, maybe?
who knows? Yeah, identity. That's what it is. Identity. It's identity. I thought this earlier, and you reminded. Thank you. It's identity. It's like that's how you know you're an actual human being who's solid and
FI
permanent.
you're talking about? FI?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I don't know who. That's why I have such a difficult time with identity because I don't really get the whole FI thing. SE, the value is fuck yeah. That's the value.
Yeah, being soulless is different than FI polar. Let's make that clear.
So,
I
so
feel
then what if you have somebody of a type who, let's say, I mean, you have two different people of the same type. They have FI in the same position, but they seem to have very different opinions on identity. One of them's like, yeah, I have a pretty strong
Well,
sense of who I am.
identity
The other
won't
person's like, I have no
won't
idea.
align at all, right? By nature, it's like that one isn't going to be similar between different people because it is specifically identity. It's the distinction between individuals. It's what makes you uniquely you. The fact that you feel this way about that and that way about this and blah 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 blah, and why you value this over that. Why it matters a lot more when Lacey died than when the guinea pig died. Why did it matter more? Because Lacey's a bigger mammal? Because whatever TI answer I can give you is bullshit. The reason is because I loved Lacey
Yeah.
more. That's why. Right?
So you can't like define that logically. You can't, like,
I can't
put,
go.
like,
I can't give you any more information than that. That's why I fucking hate feelings, because it defies any further explanation. It always defies any further explanation.
That's why when I saw that Patrick came into the chat and I thought it was Basement Overlord, I got real excited until he was like, no, I'm not Basement Overlord. And I felt more sad. I love
thanks,
Basement Overlord more than I do this other Patrick.
I mean, I did the same thing though. I really did.
Oh, you're just ordinary Patrick. Never mind. I'll retract all my enthusiasm.
He's just generic store brand Patrick is what he is. I'm looking for the name brand.
This is Trick Nasty Patrick.
Hey, Patrick's, but you know what? Patrick predates all of you, I bet he predates every single person in here.
Well, shit, I was born.
I mean, he's old enough.
No, I mean, the first time he came
Flash.
on the show. I mean, the first time he came on the show was a long, long, long time ago. So
Which Patrick are you talking about? I'm confused.
the one who's starting to hit somebody in the face.
OG Patrick.
Can you guys?
Are you an OG?
Jack, go ahead. Hey, listen, it gets a little chaotic around here,
Can the other three guys beneath us two state their types, so so I
Okay.
can get some experience here with other types.
Taylor's an ENTP like me.
Okay.
What is Patrick? I'm curious as to what veteran Patrick is.
Unknown
Nasty.
personality type.
Rick
I know.
Nasty.
What
Okay,
are
veteran
you?
Patrick's an ISTP as far as we're concerned.
All right.
Is that your guess, Patrick?
No, you're an ISTP because I am. We're both named Patrick, so it has to be the case.
All right. So the whole I gotta wrap this topic up. Okay. The whole point of the affirming and negating idea is that those values conflict sometimes, right? And if you think
Yeah.
about when people have problems with each other, it's because those core values that reflect their stack reflects a prioritization of values. So I'm prioritizing flexibility, adaptability first, and secondly, accuracy and correctness, and thirdly, harmony shit and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But when they conflict, that's when you have an opportunity to either affirm or negate. So you say, okay, I'm going to affirm this opposing function because I feel as though I'm developed enough or whatever, or because it's the right choice that in this case, actually, I need to pare back my innie and go with a different approach. And I'm gonna be removed enough to choose to do that, even though it's not my reflective decision. Or you may just as well say, even though I'd like to improve in these areas, right, this is clearly not an example because in this instance, no value conflicts are not neutral, right? In my opinion, that when two values come into conflict, there is a correct answer most of the time. And so, if in fact the two values come into conflict and only one course of action is the correct one, and the two cannot be permuted, which means you can't do both, and doing one negates the other, then in that case, it's not cognitive bias for me to say, no, we should prioritize this value. I'm right. In that instance, it is the primacy of TI in that area. In other words, when values come into conflict, we should always default to TI as the adjudicator of that.
Says the person who hates feelings.
Always default to TI.
Because any kind of thing that comes into dispute involves more than one person. That's why.
What do
I
you
always.
think, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead.
What do you think is the relation of feelings to thoughts? Like, if you were to describe like thoughts and feelings in terms of thoughts, like what would it be, Eric?
I like the analogy I made the other night that feelings are the mortar that fills in the crack between the tiles of thoughts. So they're what connects you to your constructed narratives, your identity, stuff like that. It's not just that, oh, I have a picture on the wall here that because it just whatever. I could put any picture there. I needed some picture, I just put it there. The fact is, I did just need some pictures, so I just put it there. But there's a reason why I have this picture and not some other picture. I got it when I was in Russia, right? So it has memories associated with it. When I look at it, I periodically remember the marketplace where I purchased it and wish I had purchased a whole bunch more. They had really super cool ones. It was back not that long after the fall of communism, and I wish I had bought them out. But I was poor back then too, or poorer than I am now anyway. So I got this. This thing has feelings associated with it, right? The thing that makes it part of me, the thing that makes it a thing is the thinking stuff. The thing that makes it part of me is the feeling stuff, the associations I have with it.
Does it still have memories associated with Russia, or does it remind you of your living room now?
I mean, it does a lot of things because it has text on it too. And the text translated says, young comrades, school children, protect your textbooks. Your young comrades will need them in this coming school year. That's what it says.
Pick you up.
See, for me, feeling trumps thinking because as much as I value my introverted thinking and my capacity to engage in that, feeling is able to access things on levels that thinking isn't able to. For me.
But if it doesn't work on the thinking level, how can it be the right answer?
There isn't always a right answer to things.
I will get. I got a synthesis. Okay, I got a synthesis here that will
Don't
allow
you
us
do this?
allow two right answers in this case,
Well,
which is
I have some input. I have some input on this too. I mean, like, there's some things where you need your feelings to make the right decision, not like the objectively correct one. But if you're deciding like a career path for you, you need to be in touch with what you value subjectively, and not just being like, okay, well, here's my skill set. Here's the most optimal career path I can choose. You know, and
But
the
that
feeling
works
types
on
are
a thinking
more.
level
They have more
too.
access to that.
That works on a thinking level too. You're going to be better at something that you like doing.
I mean,
You're
you
gonna
could argue that. I'm sure a thinking type would probably go with that, but some people were like, this I might not be the best at it, but I feel a strong calling to it, and I know that 20 years down the line, this is the right decision for me. You know, that might be some NF type stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. That's how
okay.
girls get born.
See, for me, it's easy. It's like, does it make does it make me feel good, or does it make me not feel good? That's like the way I would decide on something, you know.
Well,
Do you have a type, Jack? I'm curious.
Well,
INFJ said.
INFJ. We have three. Oh, sorry. I was looking at the freaking. Never mind. Yeah, of course. Okay.
Okay. The thing about feelings is, I agree with you, Taylor, that it's usually a very poor source of information for us, especially, and that if we try to use it to provide us information, we'll likely make some poor decisions. However, I would also say that to the extent that we don't look to it for guidance exactly, but look to see if it vetoes shit. That's all, right? Because ultimately, even if something's a logical decision, as Facebook Overlord was indicating with the jobs example, we have a tendency to not understand. I mean, we learn it. We understand it once it happens to us, you know? But there are variations of it. And at the end of the day, I know that I'm at risk for committing to something that I shouldn't commit to because I'm really going to fucking hate this in a couple of months from now. Like, I was thinking about this for the Temple City High School program. I was going in there willing to take it over for, and trying to think to myself, how many times am I going to agree to go there a week, right? And then, as at first, I was just like, yeah, this is a great idea. And it makes perfect logical sense. It does make tons of logical sense, right? I live near that middle school. If I could be the high school coach, the middle schoolers who don't have a coach or a team would flock to my private academy to pay me to coach them, which is what I want anyways, the middle schoolers. So it was logical. But the reality is, I don't want to have to go someplace during the day, like a regular job that I have to go to that's not my thing, and I don't necessarily want to go any day, but you got to go anyway. And it took me a while to realize that, because I don't know, I'm an idiot. Hello.
what is the ENTP's primary function? Their go-to function.
Extroverted intuition, introverted thinking, extroverted feeling, introverted sensing.
Okay, I don't understand extroverted intuition at all. To me, that's like because I only know introverted intuition, so I don't even understand it at
It's
all.
kind of like being able to predict the future. It's awesome. I don't understand it either.
I would say that's actually more like NI. I would say that extrovert intuition is more about the endless divergent possibilities and ideas. So it's like you take one concept and you can think of a million ways to talk about that topic, whatever you talk about. Whereas introvert intuition is looking back in the past and looking into the future and predicting the one likely outcome versus a billion possible outcomes.
I think you're right. Extroverted intuition takes the situation and looks at it's very tactical. It looks at all the possibilities that could influence the situation, and then it addresses those or ranks them. Internal thinking will rank them.
I think it's funny that in trying to describe introverted intuition, I've accidentally described extroverted intuition, and just now Taylor tried to describe extroverted intuition by essentially giving a definition of introverted intuition. I think it's funny how in certain cases of like intuitive dominance that I've seen, if they really haven't like gotten to the core of what their dominant thing is, they sometimes accidentally describe the other one. I'm not sure why that is.
Yeah. I think I think it has to do with the fact that, I mean, you're an intuitive, like, first and foremost. So like you're just intuitive. You're good at both. You know, for me it's like thinking, okay, I'm introverted thinking Dom, but whenever people talk about extrovert thinking stuff, I'm okay, yeah, I do that shit. Like, fine, I can do that. It's fine. I can do it. So like that might be why there's
That's
like
how I
a
feel
merge.
about it.
In Socionics Model A would have it listed as your ignoring function.
Ignoring.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's kind of like it's that thing that you're also strong in, but your brain's not thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to do that thing. It's almost like a duh sort of thing.
Yeah. It's just like, for me, it's like someone says it, I'm just like, yeah, okay, cool, I get that, whatever. Let me go back to this thing that I was doing. You know.
Hmm.
So
Extroverted almost feels kind of like Spidey sense.
That's how introverted intuition feels.
Well, I mean,
Both,
it's
I
I
mean-
think intuition's sort of like a Spidey sense in a way.
because at least for me, I think that my thinking isn't caught up to my intuition always. I had to learn after a lot of trial and error to trust my intuition and not try to think around it.
Although it's funny because when you explained extroverted intuition, you used the word tactical, and I could see how extroverted intuition would give someone an edge when it comes to being a soldier. Judging physical parameters and like
Yeah.
whereas my introvert intuition is very much limited when it comes to um, or maybe I'm confusing it with my extroverted sensing being weak, but yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to say right now, so never mind.
It's more. I think it's not so much physical possibilities as it is when you mix it with FE. I can figure out people's motives real easy.
Yeah.
I think host can.
It'd be thinking about what the
I knew
other is doing, will do, might do. It's not thinking about, okay, this is a higher elevation. We'll be on high ground. They'll have to march up to us.
Oh, okay.
Although they do that too, but it for me it seems like it's primarily reading between the lines of motives a lot. That's what I look for.
Damn, man, it sounds like it's still confusing. I can't really separate the two in my mind.
Host
Any,
can, I
like,
think,
this
ask
might happen, this
specific-
might happen, this might happen. NI is like, this is going to happen.
This is a very extroverted,
Oh.
intuitive way of explaining it. What I'm doing because I don't really know how to explain it. I'm just going.
Mhm. Say
And
that
so-
again. Whoever just said that neat little
Yeah,
guy
okay,
just
so
said it.
extroverted is intuition is this might happen, this might happen. So it's like seeing all the possibilities, where NI is like focusing on one thing, like this is going to happen. Instead of looking at all the possibilities, it looks at what's most likely to happen based on extroverted sensing data. So based
Okay,
on
got it.
what you've collected from the environment, this is most likely what is going to happen. That's NI.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
Well, here's an example. Like, you take this thing, like what the fuck is this thing? You know, what is this thing?
I was wondering that.
An extrovert intuitive could think of a trillion ways to use this thing. I could use this to fix my car, or maybe, I don't know, like, use it as a stencil, or I don't know, fucking like use it as a visor when I'm out golfing. I don't know. Whereas introvert intuitive is going to be like, this thing, they're going to look at it and they're going to be like, this thing is used to fucking hold textbooks when you're at the library studying for your exams. Because that's the most likely thing to do with it.
I think another thing too is it can get kind of confused with like you're kind of describing NI giving sort of more of a utility to something, which I don't think that may be part of it. That might be part of it. How
think
it
that's
works.
That could be the way. That could be the way I.
That's
That could be the
energy
way.
manifesting.
That's well, somewhat. I think another part of it too is it might look at that and there may be nothing that comes to mind in terms of, oh, what is this? You're just kind of looking at it like, oh, okay. Later on, there might be something like, somebody may be like, you know what, I can't find something to sit my books on, or I can't find something to use so that I can store books, and then it wouldn't even be like, oh, well, you need to use this other thing I saw earlier because of this reason, this reason, and this reason. Instead, it's just like you get an image of your head of that thing you saw earlier, and you're like, could you use that one thing you saw?
Right thing to do. You keep saying, well, this
That's extroverted intuition.
Not necessarily.
You're connecting separate, unrelated
What
external
I don't want
ideas.
is to have you calling me and telling me, well, if she wants this, we want this, whatever. You should all want the same goddamn thing I want, which is for her to be the best fucking debater she can be. And that means you
Thanks for
let
joining
me
us here on
coach,
Talking with Famous
right?
People.
You don't come in there and tell me like, well, okay, well, who's our partner? And she wants it, blah, blah, blah. Don't worry about it. It's not a problem.
Did somebody turn his microphone off?
I muted it.
That screen awareness is happening.
It's
Awesome shit.
ridiculous.
Awesome shit's
You
happening
need
on
to
screen.
lay back, be the parent, let me be the coach,
to yell
and
at
let
the line.
Natalie just have fun. Stop
dinner on the
worrying
show.
about the outcomes.
right,
If you worry about the outcomes,
Unmuted.
you make your
No,
desired
don't.
outcomes less likely, not more likely. I don't know
Wrap it.
how else to tell this to you. You got it?
Please, everyone, let's watch and enjoy.
Yeah, a moment of silence for the audience.
We find the Eric in its natural habitat, yelling at its daughter over the phone.
Since he's going to
You
watch this
don't
later
think
and
I should
edit
be this
together a
emotional,
video,
and yet
why don't
this
we
has gotta
right
be-
now?
I
I
mean,
make the
how
motion
many
that-
conversations have we had
Not
in which
edit
case
it down.
it's not just that. It's not just that. It's
Sorry,
not
what's
just
that,
that.
Taylor?
It is
I told you.
yeah, Leo said it. What I'm
Eric,
telling you, I have
the motion
debate
is
class
on the
available
floor
for your daughter. I have
that you
debate class
use
available for your
this
daughter. Don't worry
glory
what
in
happens in
and
it when
not
I
edit
do
it
that.
out. That should
You
be
get it?
Not cut that out.
All right, all in favor?
Eric got
No,
you.
you didn't. You
right.
no, you didn't and
Okay.
don't. No, you didn't and don't. Okay, let's talk about what trust means functionally. It means
Is he really talking to his
when you're
daughter? He
asking me
said.
questions about
Maybe, I don't know.
whether she's going to be doing this or that, and I've
I
already
don't know
told
who else you could
that's a
possibly
coaching
talk to
matter.
with that fervor.
There's nothing for you to-
Oh, okay.
Your dad.
Do you have
We
it?
talked again.
Awful.
Right?
You got to look at it.
Yeah, stop touching it.
And we voted not to let him edit it out. So it's unanimous.
Yep.
He's bitching out so much.
So the thing I was saying with NI though, I know you were saying that seems like more of a possibilities thing,
There you go.
but it's like, yeah, in a way, it's almost like I'm thinking of it more of like
Because,
the
listen, I'm telling you,
truth, quote
I'm telling
unquote. I
you.
don't mean that like in some way off, mystical sense, but like you're. It's kind of like coming to a conclusion, but it's not like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 sort of conclusion.
And what I have said in exchange,
It gathers-
listen, hold on,
gathers
Natalie's mom, listen
incredible
for a
amount of
second. What I did in
data
exchange,
our
I said,
environment,
Natalie can pay for
and
one
it
class,
pieces it all
and she
together
can go
and forms
to
a,
LD,
it forms
policy,
one
and
picture,
PF.
not
And
multiple.
instead of helping me,
pictures.
it's
Yeah.
tripled my
One
fucking
picture.
problems.
Yeah.
There's no agenda at all. It's a very objective, and that's why I had to.
And I'm telling you, it's free to do all of them at this.
Hold on a second.
I'm not asking you to pay. For Christ's sakes, do you understand? I am saying I want Natalie to come to class Saturday morning. I want her to come to class. Oh my God.
Did I just chase him off?
That was brilliant.
Muted.
So, what was I saying? Someone I had read somewhere. Somebody had given the example of NI. They were saying somebody was looking.
Okay, listen.
Unmuted.
Here's what you just
Something.
did. You just said switch her to Lincoln Douglas, right?
Still talking.
But I just
somebody
finished yelling at
was-
you and explained to you a million times over that
Okay,
doesn't mean
fine.
anything.
Unmuted.
Okay, you have paid for one class. I've encouraged your daughter to continue to come, as I do all my debaters, to every single debate class I have.
Don't think about
Now,
TPs as
what you should do in response to that is say, this is fantastic. I pay Eric for one class, and I get to go Saturday 3 hours if I want, Sunday 8 hours if I want. I can go Wednesday. I can go to GTM sessions. All that is included in one price, right? Instead, you're giving me 3 sets of problems.
right?
We think that she can follow you. It's a good way to learn debate because we trust your specialty. We trust your profession, right? We always think that you are professional.
I'm not professional. I'm good. That's the difference. Okay, I'm not very
because it's
professional. I'm very
transformative.
unprofessional, but I'm right. So when I get frustrated, it's because you are persisting in asking questions I've already answered.
I think we have the same goal. It's how to
Has his prey
to be a
cornered.
good debater.
It won't
I
last
think
much
she
longer.
Really loves debating.
And that's why I said,
why
no,
I
it
think
will.
we
It will
invest
fix it.
time. You know, every time we drop from Irvine to
Okay.
LA, we spend 3 hours.
But listen, you're saying to me, you need to know now what I'm going to be teaching on Saturday so you can decide whether Natalie's coming to class. I'm telling you, she's going to benefit from class, and if I told you that, she'd benefit less because that's not how it works. I don't fucking know what I'm going to do on Saturday. I'll know when I get there. The best thing you can do is send her to debate class because she'll have 3 more hours with me, and I'll be spitting gold bricks at her the whole time. Regardless of what kind of gold there. 14 karat, 18 karat, 21 karat, doesn't fucking matter. There's still gold bricks. You should send her to class. I don't know. If you don't make it to class, fine. Not a problem either. But don't make it contingent on knowing something about what's going to happen there.
Got it.
Okay. I got to go. Thank you. I'll talk to you later.
You that.
If it's any better, I think it only muted it on
people.
our end. I think he recorded all of it.
Oh yeah.
So, Jack, are you enjoying the environment and the?
I didn't get to see that side of him in his video, so now I get to see the whole show.
Are we cultivating enough of a warm, spiritual, growing environment going on here?
It's
a
real.
very frustrating parent. It's a very frustrating parent.
It's real. So.
I mean, this happens every day. Eventually, you're going to do this, Jack. You're going to have to rant for us.
Oh no, I do shit like that all the time. So.
Get
all
some
three
channels.
INFJs.
Talking videos.
No, it's me and Jack are the INFJ. Basement Overlord is the ISTP.
Okay.
ISTP.
I'm gonna have to if I'm gonna publish this video though, I have to go through and mute out her voice. I can't. In California, that's illegal. It's a felony. It's a felony.
Oh shit! It's a felony.
What's that, Taylor?
Your disclaimer was, I'm unprofessional. She should have known right then. Right then, she consented.
Well,
No, you should call her back and be like, hey, by the way, we were recording you. Can we use that audio?
Saying that by reading this letter, you consent to use your voice.
Right, yeah.
Like, speaking of gold bricks, we have a few that we were planning on using.
By answering the phone, you just agreed to everything. Goodbye.
You want to be typed on our channel? We will type you on our channel for free.
All right. Thanks for watching. I hope when I first came in here on the phone, I forgot that this was going on. But then when I saw that it was going on, and then I went back outside, I was like, no, now they got a little bit of that. I should probably just go in there and finish having the conversation.
And we took a vote, and you have to leave it in the video. You can't edit it out.
Okay, but I got to mute out her voice or I'll be guilty of a crime in California.
No. In California,
Well,
maybe.
we voted, so sorry.
Okay,
you have
then
to-
I'll pitch modulate it.
Okay, yeah.
And
Or she'll
I'll
be like, I can't believe that you would do stuff like that. I can't believe it. And she's gonna be like, well.
or I could do a transcription of her part in my own voice. That's legal too. I could be like, but I don't like that, Eric, or whatever she said. I don't know.
Know the legality of this stuff? Probably.
Yeah, I know it because I used it against somebody.
Because it's tactical, extroverted intuition. That's what I was talking about, right?
That's the blackmail you're talking about?
No, when in between your rants, we were talking about extroverted intuition, trying to nail it down, and I said it's tactical, and that's tactical, and that's why we're good lawyers. I'm the third best lawyer in this county. I'm not a lawyer.
Well, it turned out my ex-employee committed a felony against me. All it took was a little bit of legal research. And it's amazing. You know, it's remarkable what those law books will offer up. Why, you could practically accuse anybody of being guilty of anything. It's amazing what you can find in there.
I think it's kind of nature's defense, though, because if I'm thinking of the kind of person I'd want to screw over legally, it's probably an ENTP. I'm thinking to myself, wow, I really want them to just suffer.
That is so...
That's funny. So the person who tried to screw me over legally is an INFJ, and flopped hard.
Oh, yeah. They don't win. Yeah, it's a bad idea. Because you've got a plan. We've got the seat of our pants.
little bit of charisma.
Yeah.
You guys are mean. You guys are mean.
Does the ISFP? That was ISFP interjection.
Thanks
I
for watching.
just